All right, let's jump right into this. For centuries, hiding deep inside the pages of the Bible, there's been this creature, a beast of just unimaginable power, one that has left scholars, scientists, and pretty much everyone scratching their heads. Today, we're opening the case file on one of history's most epic monster mysteries. Just who or what is Behemoth?
And the way it's described in the book of Job, it's just breathtaking. He is the first of the works of God. I mean, seriously, stop and think about that for a second. This isn't just some big animal. We're talking about a masterpiece of creation, the top of the line. It's a line that just grabs you and makes you wonder.
So, it all boils down to this one huge question that people have been asking forever. What is this thing? Let's follow the clues, line up the suspects, and see if we can crack this ancient code.
Okay, to really get this, we've got to go back to the beginning, right? To the source. This whole behemoth thing pops up in the book of Job. And it's not just a casual mention. God himself is talking to a guy named Job, speaking out of a whirlwind. Super dramatic stuff. And he uses this incredible creature to show off his power. You can imagine it left Job and readers for centuries just totally stunned.
So where do we even start with this investigation? Well, let's go with the most logical first step. What if Behemoth was just a real animal? You know, something we could actually point to in a nature documentary. A lot of very smart people have tried to do exactly that.
So the list of the usual suspects is actually pretty short. You've got the elephant, the crocodile, the water buffalo. They've all been thrown out there. But the one that really gets the most attention, especially from scholars, is the hippopotamus. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's massive, it's incredibly strong, it lives near water, and it eats grass like an ox. Seems like a pretty good fit, doesn't it?
Yeah, about that, this is where the whole theory starts to fall apart. The text says its tail moves like a cedar, you know, like a giant tree, a cedar tree. But have you ever seen a hippo's tail? It's this tiny, short, kind of pathetic little thing. Then you've got bones like tubes of bronze, and being the first of the works of God. None of that really lines up with a hippo. The tail, especially, is a huge problem. The clues just aren't matching up.
So here's the bottom line. Trying to shoehorn Behemoth into being a hippo or some other animal, it just doesn't work. You have to ignore big chunks of the description to make it fit. The zoological trail has officially gone cold, so it's time to start thinking a little more outside the box.
And that brings us to our next clue. And this one is a bit of a bombshell. If it wasn't an animal we know today, could it have been an animal from the distant past? Could we be talking about a dinosaur?
Now, this idea is a big one for some creationists. They argue that the description, especially that gigantic tree-like tail, is a dead ringer for a massive sauropod dinosaur. For them, this isn't just a theory. It's potential evidence that humans and dinosaurs actually lived at the same time. It's a wild idea for sure, but an idea like that needs some serious physical proof.
And some people believe that proof exists in the form of these things called the Acambaro figures. These are thousands and thousands of clay statues found in Mexico back in the 40s. And what's so crazy about them is that some of them really look like dinosaurs alongside humans. If you're on Team Dinosaur, these figures look like a smoking gun. But their history is messy.
Right after they were found, the controversy exploded. By 1952, an archaeologist was claiming a local family was just churning them out for cash. Then, some early dating tests in '69 seemed to show they were ancient, which just threw gasoline on the fire. But then, a new analysis in '78 showed those first tests were totally flawed. Today, the mainstream scientific view is that they're clever but modern fakes.
So, with no solid, scientifically accepted proof that humans and dinosaurs ever hung out together, the whole Behemoth was a dinosaur idea stays firmly in the realm of belief, not science. Our investigation has to take another turn. Okay, so if it's not a known animal and it's probably not a dinosaur, what else is there? Well, our third clue pulls us into a totally different world, the world of ancient myths. What if we've been looking for a physical creature when we should have been looking for something else entirely?
See, a lot of scholars now think that the writer of Job wasn't trying to be a biologist. They think he was tapping into these much older, really powerful myths from the surrounding cultures. From this angle, Behemoth isn't something you'd find in a zoo. It's a symbol, a literary tool to make a much bigger point.
And you can really see this when you look at texts from an ancient culture called Ugrit, which were written way before the book of Job. In their stories, you find these epic chaos monsters. There's a sea serpent called Libiton that sounds an awful lot like the Bible's Leviathan, and you've also got this huge bull monster, sometimes called Atirik, the calf of the god El. Well, Behemoth is often described like a giant ox, so the parallel is kind of hard to miss.
So why use these myths? Well, this quote from the scholar John Day really nails it. The goal wasn't a literal description, it was a theological mic drop. God is essentially saying to Job, look, you can't even handle these symbolic monsters of chaos. What makes you think you can question me, the one who created them and has them on a leash?
And that right there brings us to the deepest layer of this mystery. We need to stop asking what Behemoth is and start asking what it means. What is the ultimate message behind this monster?
So we figured out it's more than just an animal, and it's more than just a myth borrowed from another culture. It's a symbol of pure, untamable chaos. But could it go even deeper? Could Behemoth be the symbolic face of the very evil that's been causing all of Job's problems from the start?
Now this is the interpretation that ties the whole story of Job together with a perfect bow. Some theologians make a powerful case that Behemoth is the final, symbolic representation of God's ultimate adversary, Satan.
Just think about it. The whole book kicks off with Satan challenging God and being the direct cause of Job's suffering. Then, at the very end, God shows up and points to Behemoth, his most powerful creation, and basically says, yeah, even this is under my control. In that light, God isn't just talking about some animal or a myth. He's showing Job that he has absolute power over the source of evil itself. It brings the entire story full circle.
So after chasing down all these clues, the zoological, the prehistoric, the mythological, and the symbolic, we find that there's no simple, one-word answer. The real identity of Behemoth is, well, it's a mirror.
The answer you lean towards says a whole lot about how you see the world. Are you looking for a hard, scientific, zoological fact? Do you see it as a tantalizing clue to a hidden, prehistoric past? Or do you see a much deeper, symbolic truth about God, chaos, and the very nature of fate?
Which leaves us right back where we started. But now the question feels so much bigger, doesn't it? What is Behemoth?
Maybe the answer isn't a specific creature at all. Maybe Behemoth is a mystery that's meant to last forever. Maybe it's there to make us humble, to force us to admit we don't know everything, and to just stand in awe of a universe that's way bigger and way more mysterious than we can ever fully figure out. And maybe that's the whole point.